Hi, and welcome to this short interview. My name is Joanna Aka from GYC Africa. We are streaming from Babcock University in Nigeria at the Much More GYC Africa Conference 2025. And here I would like to invite you to listen in to a short discussion I'm going to have with one of our speakers. I almost said my friend, but I haven't earned that yet. Yeah, but one of our speakers, a prolific speaker, a profound entrepreneur. We call him the radical entrepreneur, and I'm just going to have a moment with him. I hope that you're going to be blessed from this conversation we're going to have. Hi, Mr. Dumisani.
Hello, Aka, and glad meeting you here.
Yes.
By virtue of the wonderful things that you're doing here and the leadership that you've actually shown, you've actually earned to be my friend. So yeah, well done.
Thank you, thank you so much. Dumi, you are from Southern Africa, from Zambia to be specific. I'm from Zambia as well. Very excited to meet another Zambian in the diaspora and just doing wonderful things. Could you tell us about yourself just in a nutshell?
All right. I'm an entrepreneur and one who believes in entrepreneurship, and I've found the need to spread the entrepreneurial message. In fact, I see it as ministry. I wish to see many Africans rise and Zambians rise and taking charge of their lives. So for me, this is a calling, and I've seen this as my purpose.
Amen. Amen. When we were choosing speakers to come and speak, I suggested a number of names from Southern Africa and Zambia, to be specific. And the process is rigorous. Like, you needed to go to their profiles, go to YouTube, look at their videos, their content, read everything, and you read something amazing about you that BBC put up as something special. Do you want to tell us a little about that?
All right. I think that should have been a post from long back.
Yes.
Wasn't that maybe 2019 there about
Yes.
Yes, so it was amongst the youths that are making an impact. It was during the World Economic Forum. So BBC followed me at my office and just shared the wonderful works that I'm doing in Zambia.
Yes.
That was quite interesting. It was quite interesting because I think that year the World Economic Forum was taking place in South Africa. Okay. So it was such an honor to be recognized and people recognizing the works.
Some of the other things that we found on, I know these things, like I follow you, I've interacted with you before, but some of the most interesting things in the recent past has been, number one, the walk, the entrepreneurial walk from the northwestern part of Zambia all the way to the city, and the amazing gatherings, concerts, I don't know how to call them, biggest, like one of the largest gatherings of entrepreneurs in the world, the Africa Must Think Conference. You want to tell us a little about that?
All right, great. So my mission is to see Africans rise and realize their power. So I'll begin with the walks. I decided to embark on walks. So I've done two so far, one from Congo to Lusaka. The next one was from Solwezi to Lusaka, covering over 600 kilometers. And I'm yet to do the final one, which is this coming Sunday, which is from Congo to Zimbabwe, crossing through Zambia. Quite a challenging journey, passing through three countries in a way. But the reason for the walk is to arrest attention. And sometimes people ask, why walk? Why can't you just share the message? Why do you have to go through all that pain?
Why not just use social media?
Why don't you just use social media? So walks do one thing. They arrest attention. They play a role of riots. When people engage in riots, people engage in strikes, in a similar way, a walk would arrest attention, and when attention is arrested, you then share your ideology or that which you are trying to communicate to the public. Okay. So hence the walks, and the walks are there to ignite entrepreneurship, to challenge people towards entrepreneurship, and that is what I'm trying to do.
That's interesting. I hope that my schedule will be free to join you even for like a week or two. When you get back to Zambia, I can do a little walking as well.
No, that would be great. That would be great. Then for the entrepreneurship as well, for the Africa Must Think, it's so humbling how people have been hungry for information. The last time I had a conference in an auditorium was in 2020, where we almost had a stampede at the biggest gathering, at the biggest auditorium then, which was which was Mulongoshi. From then on, we moved to the stadium. So from 2021, it has always been at the stadium, and seeing numbers grow to almost 40,000 people in one gathering. It has been so humbling, and it has shown some growth over the years. And I'm so thankful to God for the privilege to stand and speak to so many people, and to also just be followed by these many people and believing in the message. I think to me it just underscores one thing: the message is reaching out. The message is reaching more people. So this is really humbling for me, and that's why I see it as ministry.
Amen.
And in addition to that, also just to also say, over and above these big gatherings, it has also been humbling how God has just opened doors where I would be invited to preach also.
Yes. I know
Preach in
you
Adventist.
preach exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go as well.
Yeah, you know, in Adventist churches, and also doors have opened in Pentecostal churches.
Yes.
In fact, almost all the big Pentecostal churches in Zambia have invited me to preach, and which I've also seen to be ministry in a way, because it is allowing us to reach even more people.
So other than the heat and the jollof rice and the 2 pieces of tofu and the chili, what has been your experience here at GYC Africa 2025?
I think I love the presentations from other speakers. It has really been awesome and so great. And I, for one, it has also been a very humbling experience. You know, having, people being so hungry for information, and that can be attested by this place where we are now having the interview. How we've struggled to clear people who've been wanting to ask or interact with me. It is really humbling. You know, the love, it is really humbling. I've had such an awesome time.
What's your one takeaway from this GYC 2025 much more conference? Like the one thing, okay, there could be 2 or 3, but what are like your other like the highlights that you say, hey man, if you missed GYC Africa 2025, please look for this. This was amazing.
Okay, it may not be the best of the things to share, but it is okay. So, when it's getting to the GYC Africa, you know, we had people that were abducted.
Yes.
And seeing them being released and hearing their testimony, how things went, how things unfolded, and whatnot, it is so awesome. It made me really excited, and it made me realize that miracles are still happening and they're still taking place. I think for me, that was an awesome moment, just hearing that they've been released, and also interacting with them really, and just noticing that no one was killed except one was shot, but receiving treatment and getting better and out of danger. I think to me, that was a very interesting time.
Me too. I've seen that in movies. I never thought it's reality.
Oh
we don't have that,
you know.
And then you hear these stories and you're interacting with the actual people who had that. It was such an experience. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I totally agree with that, and probably it's my highlight too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was just glued to the screen when I was listening to those people pouring out their stories. It was humbling, it was somber, it was also beautiful to watch.
Oh,
But
yes.
amazing, and praise be to God.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of entrepreneurship as ministry, what would you say? You hinted on that just before we came to this table for interviews. How do you take this to be? I mean, some people understand mission just as preaching of the gospel on the pulpit, but clearly ministry or mission is very diverse, and the diversity is one which enables us to reach more people. There are some people who never get to what we call a crusade or an evangelistic campaign. There are some people who come in. But for you personally, you've mentioned how you minister across denominations because of this. How do you, in a nutshell, just understand what God has called you to do what has called you to do, and how that is ministry, and how you think that is impacting impacting lives as we come to the close of this interview?
I think for me, I see the blessings given to me as a privilege to amplify the voice for the good and for the better.
Yes.
Whatever God has blessed me with, I see it as an opportunity to then minister. You see, because there are people who would never, maybe let me even give an example of financial independence. You know, there are people who never take time to listen to one who does not have financial independence, because their thinking is that, no, this one is praying to God, praising God, or maybe serious with church issues because he has nothing to do. But sometimes when they see you, you know, living a life that they aspire for, the life that they would wish to live, but you seem to have that life, and in addition to that, you are still committed to godly things. It has a way of ministering to a certain sect of people. I think, to me, that is what has made me realize that this in itself is ministry. And there are many doors that have also opened. There are many people that are just a phone call away, who I can easily minister to, who, if I didn't have the financial capacity or maybe the entrepreneurial success, I would have never had access to them. So to me, this seems to be a privilege and an opportunity for ministry. And also just the privilege that God has given me to minister to many people in the space of entrepreneurship. Under your voice, you have 40,000 people. That is not an everyday thing. So in your presentation and in my presentations, I make it a point that somewhere, somehow, I acknowledge the greatness of God. I put out a message that makes people realize that God is real, and God can perform miracles in a way. So to me, I've decided to minister from that angle. Whereas others can minister from other angles of stepping out with the Bible and meeting people, that's another route. There are certain people that they may not be able to reach that I might be able to reach. So which is ministry in itself. So for me, I truly see this as ministry.
Mr. Ncube, thank you very much for this interview. It's been a great pleasure to have you here. Your stories, the lessons have been amazing. GYC Africa has been blessed, and the world at large. We're truly grateful that you accepted our invitation and that you have accepted to speak to the people on camera. May God continue to bless you, and wish to hear from you soon.
Thank you so much. So much more.
Amen. Much more.
Much more. Yeah.
Amen. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Ncube, the radical entrepreneur, talking to us about entrepreneurship and how that can be ministry. May God be with all of us as we continue in the entrepreneurial journey.